Tomela Sanmonani Dumelang, how's it? Awe, my name is Jacob Moshokoa, coming to you live from the fairest Western Cape. Beautiful area of the town, it's Wynberg. I'm doing some city slicking, and I'm driving a new offering from Mahindra. This is the XUV 3XO AX7L. Now, Mahindra's been in the country since 2004. They've been doing quite well so far, and now they've brought this new kid on the block out. And I'm going to tell you a little more about this car, how it drives, how it feels, and where it fits in specifically in this segment. So now we can roll it. That's coming up after this.
Think of a car, any car. Yes, Cars.co.za. Let's find what moves you.
As I might have mentioned in my intro, Mahindra's been around since 2004. And back in 2022, at least 75,000 units were sold in South Africa. Mahindra is doing quite well to make South Africa their second home, or specifically a great place to market their cars outside of India. They do have a distribution plant in KZN or Durban, but South Africa is a core market for Mahindra. And that's why this car fits in. This 3XO is technically the facelift or the better version of the XUV 300. Now, I don't know about you. When I look at that XUV 300, I'm like, oh, brother, This car, on the other hand, it looks good. Nice, sharp lines, modern feel to it. And where they've placed this car is the reason why we are having this conversation. So picture this. Mahindra, Hyundai, and even Suzuki. These specific cars that I'm talking about are actually in our Cars Awards. We got to test drive all three of these cars back to back. That's specifically the new Suzuki Swift, the Hyundai Exter, and this one, the 3XO. The crazy part about all of this is, a couple of weeks ago when I drove the Exter, I was like, whoa, this is leading the pack in this segment. These are budget cars, these are lacquer crossover cars, and these are cars that appeal to a lot of buyers simply because of the price point, chankura. Just so you know, there is the MX range and the AX range. We are in the AX range. The AX range is obviously the higher tier, the linear ones. The MX range is basic levels, where you start. So the first MX manual, entry level, so starting price of these cars is 255,000 Rand. That is damn good money. And you're getting a solid car at that price. And that's why I think this car is going to shake things up. It's properly going to shake things up. In fact, there's 4 of those variations of the MX. Then you get the AX range. The AX range, also 4 variations. This is the AX7 Luxury. And yes, it costs 405,000 Rand. So I have to be very specific here. This is not necessarily the one that you want to buy because it's sort of a little too outpriced. The one that you want to buy is the MX3. The MX3 is an automatic as well, and that comes in at around 294. And now that's where we're saying, just before you get to the AX7 range, the one that you need to look for is the best of the MXs. It has almost everything that this car has, including the sunroof. This car has everything you would need. And that's why I think Mahindra was so slick with bringing this car to the market. In fact, Mahindra have turned away from that XUV shape and they've brought in this modern, cool looking car. Even somebody of my standards, because I like Lani things, I think this car's very Lani. So let's delve a little more into how this car feels now. I've been driving this car, 4 days, 5 days now? I like this car. I don't even want to give it away in the office because, I got to drive the car first and then I got to hand it over to Ash or Dave because they do some updated stuff for the website and they got to write articles as well. I don't want to give this car back. I'm telling you, I don't want to give it back. And Dave's going to be watching this and he's going to be like, oh, no wonder you were hoarding the Mahindra's key. It's simply because of how economical this car is, how easy it is to throw into a parking. The car is easy to navigate and easy to drive. This gearbox as well, I'm very impressed with this gearbox. It's got this 1.2 litre turbo petrol engine and a 3-cylinder, but it doesn't feel like it. At most times when I'm trying to get a bit of speed to come up a hill or even do a quick overtake, it doesn't feel like the car's like choking. Like, the car does well. So after some extensive cruising with this car, there's a few other things that are worth mentioning. That, of course, includes overall fuel consumption. Now, in the past few days I've been driving this car, there has been nothing under 10 liters per 100 kilometers. I'm currently doing 11.7 liters per 100 kilometers, but I would have expected a little better when it comes to fuel consumption, because I remember the Extra, we were doing 8.4, 8.7 liters per 100 kilometers. Now I look at this car and I'm like, oh man, we've not even got anywhere close to 10. The entire range of the 3XO comes with a 5-year, 100,000 kilometer warranty. The MX range that I just mentioned, that has a 55,000 kilometer, 3-year service plan. And then the AX range, these ones, the top tier ones, they come with a 100,000 kilometer, 5-year service plan. So can you see what Mahindra is doing? They're coaxing you to get the AX range because that's the better range, right? But then you're paying and moving into a different tier. And the reason why I say that is because it's a good time and a good place to also mention, because of the higher tier pricing, you got to mention the Nissan Magnite, you got to mention the Renault Kiger, because those are also crossy SUV-esque type of cars, right? So that already takes your shopping or your thinking to a different brand. Now, I want to keep you here by this brand because I find that this brand, with what they're offering, is damn good. This is very good. That's why we're telling you, sweet spot, MX3, and you've got everything you need. There are, of course, a few things that I don't necessarily understand, because that's how it is with a budget car, right? The first thing is the driving modes in this car. So the options that you have are zip, zap, and zoom. I mean, come on, Mahindra. Just say eco, comfort, and sport. Like, there's no reason to be fancy. I mean, those are the few nigglies, or the little niggly that I don't like about the car. But yes, everything else works, eh? 80 kilowatts, 200 Newton meters of torque. It's like everything is enough for this car. And the fact that it has a sunroof, I'm like, this car appeals to me. Like, Rata sunroof as South Africans. And in this car, I appreciate the sunroof. Other things that you gotta know is, when you are indicating, for instance, or turning with this car, right here, the digital driver display sort of disappears and turns into a camera. Nice thing is, I can then see the paving from here. That's kind of important sometimes when you're doing close navigations or turning on a tight corner, especially in this Western Cape. Have you seen how narrow the roads are here in the Western Cape? Oh, smoking like a true Joe burger. So there are, of course, a few other things that I don't like about this car. And just like clockwork, that is one of them. So I don't know why the car's a bit sensitive with the cameras around the car. Like, when I'm at a robot like this specifically, when there's any movement around me, and I don't know what it is, somebody walking, a cyclist, a car going the opposite direction, it just beeps like that and it says stop. Like, I don't get that. The car does tend to be a bit sensitive, and I don't know why, but it's like an over-sensitive problem. Also, while I'm on that, the lane assist of this car is it's too aggressive. Like, literally, if I just straddle a lane a little, the car's like, oh, Jacob, where you going? Come back. It forces me back into my lane. Look, I don't mind a lane assist, but it should be like calm. You know, it must like coax me into my lane, not like throw me into my lane. The issue with this adaptive cruise control is that it leaves too much of a gap with the car in front of me. As much as you try and bring that gap closer to reel in that gap is so big. The polo diatsena, the polo diatra, these BMs in and out. So cars are coming in and now killing my adaptive cruise control, and then I end up at the back. I'm still in Cape Town CBD. That time I'm going to Muizenberg. You get what I mean? So it becomes a bit of a problem. So I prefer to drive it without the adaptive cruise control. I don't need all the technology. Me, I can drive. It's fine. I can drive. Quick look at the interior of the XUV 3XO. A lot of the things are controlled here with the steering wheel, from volume control to adaptive cruise control, and even changing your music tracks or radio station, etc. There is a button here for hill descent control. So that means some light off-roading in this car would make sense. There's also a couple of blank buttons here, despite it being the top of the range, but I won't get too much into that. Quality finishes on the dashboard, including some really nice stitching, contrasting with the white and black. Not too much plastic. The plastic is only here on the bottom half of the car. Then there's this shiny plastic. I don't know how the shiny plastic will date over time, but it looks really good right now. So I really appreciate this Harman Kardon sound system in a car like this. It's got this 10.25-inch infotainment system where you can do your Apple CarPlay, and there's a couple of buttons as well here to do your general settings for audio, etc., etc. Gear shifter here, pretty straightforward. 2 cup holders and a wireless car charger, USB and USB-C port, some storage here, and a section where you can keep your key and charge your key, and quality stitching on the seats too. Now there's really something I admire about this car is the fact that I don't have to do funny touchy-feely dials to get my aircon controls done. I prefer buttons and knobs, and even the radio, it's a knob, loud, soft with a knob, not necessarily a touch feel dial. I hate those touch feel dials. And now for the backseat scene. This is my legroom. This is my driver's position. I am very close to the driver's seat, barely making it, but I am comfortable. I'm not really touching. There's enough headroom as well. Now, the only thing that makes me feel uncomfortable is here at the back, the ISOFIX plugs. One of them is literally up my backside, and it's very uncomfortable. I don't know if backside is a good word to use. Armrest, perfect. 2 cup holders, nice short armrest. There is a proper seat belt for the third passenger, and there's a smaller hump here as well. So the kid sitting here won't be too uncomfortable. There is air vents that you obviously can direct yourself, 12-volt outlet, and a USB-C port. And then, of course, there's this proper headrest as well. It's pretty decent in the back of the 3XO. And now for the ultimate test, the budget cooler box test. 1, 2, 3, and that's it. That's all the space you have in this car. Unfortunately, our test unit did not come with a parcel shelf. Looking inside here, you've got a space saver spare wheel, and you've got a 10 spanner. In fact, it's a 10-12 spanner. And it's nicely tucked away there with all your other tools that you need. Cool. 60-40 split, of course, on the car. And that's all she wrote. I'm done. Okay, bye. Any questions below? Drop a comment there. Let me know what you guys think. But, you know, there's a lot of people who always say, Jacob, you guys are getting paid to push Mahindra. No, guys. What we actually are here to do is tell you how good or how bad this car is. There's only a few bad things, like those beeps, that I can mention. Apart from that, this car's excellent. Number one, love this car. Believe it or not, I love this car. It's a proper runaround car. If you want to be different and you don't want to look like anyone else and you don't want to go for the likes of the Hyundai or even the Suzuki, here's an alternative which is solid. It is so solid. This car definitely gets a thumbs up from me. We don't do ratings with numbers or any of that, but I'll do a rating here. The Suzuki Swift, I'll only give it a 4 because the Suzuki Swift just doesn't have the finesse of this 1.2 liter turbo engine. It just doesn't. It's not finessed and refined as much as this car is. The Exter, the only reason why it gets lower points is because, have you seen how odd looking that Exter is? Exter doesn't fit in, man. It's nice, but not as good as this. So Exter 3.5, Suzuki Swift 4, this car 4.5. And the reason why it's getting the 4.5 is because of all those funny beeps and the lane assist, which just throws you back into your lane so aggressively. But overall, this is a solid car. Leave a comment down below. Check us out in the next video. Some really cool drag races we did over the past week. Oh man, I can't wait for you guys to see them. We did a lot because we're getting prepped for the Cars.co.za awards. That will be taking place, the award evening, on the last week of February 2025. So in between now and then, we're going to be giving you all the updates of what we were doing as Cars Awards judges and planners and event managers. Yes, we did a lot, eh? We did a lot. Drag racers. Oh man, we did a lot. Anyway, from the fairest and gorgeous Cape Town, I'd like to say cheers, take it easy, love you, bye!
What's the car with Cars.co.za? Bow down to Lerato. Her car is the most luxurious lady you'll see today. After her, of course. Oh, Lerato. Now think of a car. Any car. Yes, we have it. Cars.co.za. Let's find what moves you.